All right. Hey, everybody. My name is Dave Savage. I'm the founder and CEO of Mortgage Coach. On the call, on the Mortgage Coach side of thing, we have Don Shabaran, who is our head of sales. Her and I are going to deliver a demo of Mortgage Coach for you guys, but we want to make this a conversation. So if you have questions, interrupt us. If you're listening to the recording and you still have questions, reach out to Chris. Chris is National Account Director here at Mortgage Coach, and he is managing the enterprise, the hopeful enterprise relationship for Movement. Right now we have, I think over 70, but is it a little over 70 Mortgage Coach users at Movement? Is that right, Chris?
Yeah, I think it was like 75, 77.
Yeah, 75. And we're going to give you a demo of what that looks like, hopefully get you to join Mortgage Coach immediately and start getting value from Mortgage Coach, but also at some point, hopefully have an enterprise relationship with Mortgage Coach. So I am going to start with just, my goal with Mortgage Coach is to help loan officers be more than a loan officer. And I believe that we're uniquely positioned to be the most valuable advisor a family ever had. Most families don't have enough money in assets to even have a financial planner or CPA. And so I think the mortgage decision is the most important decision most families ever make. And the liability decisions are the most important decisions families ever make. And when you think about how America manages the balance sheet, there's 20 million millionaires. And when you look at all the advisors that manage that asset side of the liability sheet, there's over 2 million. There's about over 600,000 CPAs, over 300,000 advisors, over 1 million life insurance agents helping with the asset side of the liability sheet. And at the end of the day, most people have similar goals. I want to be debt-free at some point. I want to have financial freedom. And still a lot of people just want to have their home paid off. Like the American dream is not getting a home with a mortgage. The American dream is getting a home. 49 million families use a mortgage to fund their home. But we have this whole thesis that this is the most important financial planning decision most people make. And Chris, if you could be letting people in, Lucas is waiting to join the room. Just keep an eye on that as I'm going here. And so we've designed Mortgage Coach to help mortgage loan officers be the most valuable advisor to a family. So that every time they're meeting with a family, they're helping them be the captain of the wealth team. They're helping them make the best mortgage decisions possible, whether it's a purchase or a refi, whether it's a move-up buyer. As of today, we think there's 150 to 170,000 actual loan officers, and we have 13,000 mortgage coaches. But we want to help a loan officer leverage technology. So let's face it, when you look at technology, a lot has changed since 2007 when it comes to how people do life and how they do business. But when it comes to how they put people into debt, like loan officers, not a lot has changed. It's a fee worksheet. It is 2021, and this is how most loan officers quote rates, whether it's a refi or purchase. It's a rate, it's a payment, it's a cash to close. And a lot of technology has changed over the past since 2007. And so what we're here to talk about is how Mortgage Coach, for the simplest refi, how we're really competing with the fee worksheet, which is rate, payment, and cash to close. This is what you're competing with. And we make the case that it's commoditization. It's not, you're commoditizing yourself when you give this rate and payment quote to families. And you're going to see how for different sales situations that you can get into, it creates confusion. Like it doesn't answer all the questions. So Mortgage Coach also helps improve conversion. So every time we've ever done a TCA a day study and we've got loan officers to use Mortgage Coach, even the most successful loan officers in America, when they go from fee worksheet to Mortgage Coach, at a minimum, it's a 20% increase in conversion. And last month, in all the tests that we did, or all the, TCA challenges we did, the conversion average was an increase of 29%. And the reduction in price exceptions was an average of 68% less. So those are the results that Mortgage Coach delivers. What I'm going to do now is, rather than go through a bunch of other companies and top producers and talk about what they're doing, how they're doing it, I'm going to have one of your own loan officers Keith Collins, who helped organize this demo, give a demo of the borrower experience. So he's going to show a couple TCAs on his screen, and we're going to demo what is the consumer experience. And then Don and I are going to demo the back end. How can you create a total cost analysis? So Keith, anything you want to add to the color I just casted before we get into a couple demos of the borrower experience?
I think one big thing to say here though is and it took me someone, I don't know who hit me. I think Bill Hart maybe hit me with this, but I signed up for Mortgage Code 3 times before I actually really dove in and committed to it. And the reason is it's a completely re-rack in the way that we interface, quote, and talk to customers. And sometimes we're very resistant to change in our process, especially when we're funneling a ton of business through that process. And then often when we have a team, our team fights it, and they were because it's a new, not because it wasn't better, but because it was new. And my third time around, Bill Hart said, Keith, do 25 TCAs before you quit this time. Just do, and this was in 2018, because 2018, late 2018, we were getting shot real hard. That was a big transition at least for me. We were just having a lot of rate conversations, and at that time I was coaching Bill. He said, you got to jump back into Mortgage Coach. And so I talked to the team and said, hey, we got to do at least 25 of these things minimum before we even have an opinion of it. Just get them done. And once we started hitting, 10, 15 of them is when the team really started kind of go through it. The first 2 or 3, it's not necessarily painful, but different. But now, I mean, every single customer does a TCA. We signed up, I don't know what it is, late 2018, but Dave, I don't know if you can tell me how many we put together, but we probably do 60, 70 TCAs a month. Every single customer gets one. And now I use it as a tool, not only in having conversations with my clients, but with my realtors. I was actually capturing a bunch of these slides that you put together here, Dave. I think it's great content just to chat with realtors about as a differentiation between who we are and how we interface with our customers, and how potentially the current lender that they're working with does. So yeah, there it is, man. That's my pitch for Mortgage Coach. I'm not on staff. I'm not on salary. I don't get anything from this. I love this company. Dave's been a bit of a mentor for me, and anytime I can help Mortgage Coach, I'm in. So what do you want me to jump into, man? I've got
let's start with the most basic purchase total cost analysis. And I would just, what Keith said was true for him, but it's been true for a lot of top producers. I mean, if you're doing over 100 loans a year, and if you're doing over 500 loans a year, you obviously have something that works for you, but you got to use Mortgage Coach 15, 20 times in a 2-week period. And then you can see, hey, like, it not only helps me improve conversion, it actually makes the job faster and easier. And we've got 34% of loan officers in the country that do over 100 loans a year use Mortgage Coach. So we've got a lot of top producing teams that use it. I do want to say, everyone on this call, you are an influencer and a leader at Movement, and we want to make sure we help you. So anyone that signs up, we will make sure you get all the help you need to fast track your success. So let's do this. Why don't you show a simple purchase TCA? Let's do like 1 or 2 borrower experiences and demo it, and then we'll show the back end, and then we'll see how much time we have, and maybe show a few other strategies.
Okay, so it's really cool with I don't think I grabbed any TCAs that actually have video, and the reason these wouldn't have video is we went over them with the customer on the phone. So one of the cool things within Mortgage Coach is when you send a link to the client and they click on that link and open it up on their screen, when I'm in the actual Mortgage Coach system, I take over their screen. So whether they're on their phone or they're on their computer, I'm taking over their screen and really guiding them through what I want them to see. So I'm going to share screen right now.
Let's demo that. As you're pulling the TCA, put a link to it in chat so people can actually see it move. So go and grab a link to that. You guys are going to see that in chat in a minute. Click on that, and you'll get to see from a consumer's perspective what it's like. We call this Mortgage Coach Live. So there's a couple of features that just always create a wow for the consumer and really drive a lot of value. And this is one of it, called Mortgage Coach Live. So there it is.
So there's the link in the chat. That's a link to this TCA.
Click on that link, everybody.
If everybody has that link. So that's a link to this TCA This might not be, I've got a ton in here that I'm trying to go through. So this might not be the most simplest one, but I do actually really love this one because I think it's really cool. So if everybody has it up, what's awesome about this, now we just let them know like, hey, this is a 500 flyover of a couple of options that we're trying to put together for you. One, we've got an FHA with down payment assistance, and then the other one's a conventional purchase with down payment assistance. And so as I'm highlighting the stuff, it kind of points it out to them. One of the things I always like to let them know is there's just more info tab. We try to set this up in such a way that it gives them the information in chunks. As they want to go deeper, then they can find more information, but it's not overwhelming in the beginning. So typically when a client sees this, what we're going to do is highlight what we believe to be some of the most important information, which is always going to be purchase price, interest rate, monthly payment, cash to close. And really in this scenario, why I love this one is the client really wanted to do the FHA with down payment assistance because they thought the rate was lower and they thought it was going to be a better option for them. But I was trying to show them that the conventional was actually going to be a better option for them over the long run based on a savings standpoint, and they just couldn't see it. Plus also in this market, right, the conventional offer as opposed to an FHA offer is always going to be a little bit better from a totem pole standpoint, and our agents always like it if I can get us into a conventional. So you guys can see here, right? Like it's a 3.5% 30-year fix versus a 4.125, and you know the payment is almost the same, right? And the cash to close is almost the same. So in a traditional scenario, like how are we going to have that conversation with the customer and tell them no, the conventional is the better option? Well, what I was able to do is actually push it out over time and show them the actual savings over time in the first 5 years. This wasn't going to be a long-term option for them. Was about $2,000 less expensive over a 60-month or 5-year period of time going with the conventional option. And that's just because of the mortgage insurance costs and some of the costs associated with the down payment assistance. The payments, you know, so I thought that was awesome. And when they saw this, they were like, oh, wow, okay, cool, Keith, like we'll go with the conventional. The more info tab is sweet because again, it breaks it all down. And that's like, hey, we'll go over our payment. Well, this is your principal and interest. It's the property taxes, homeowners insurance, mortgage insurance, total payment. It also is going to go into closing costs. So it does lump kind of the closing costs together. And then it shows them the fee detail, which actually breaks down all of the individual closing costs. So I do like that it kind of lumps it all together in one, but it gives them the chunks to go through. Dave, anything you want to add to that?
Just from a product standpoint, I want you guys to notice, go to the very top. Scroll to the top in the upper right-hand corner. We can see that there's, what's that number? 4 people are viewing this. There's a
Oh,
number in the
yeah. So
top right-hand corner.
Yeah, so six views. So it's always going to tell us, we get feedback. I get it. Sorry, go Dave.
Oh, so 6 people are watching this. And let's say you send it to a husband and a wife, you know who's engaged, who's not. You're also getting an alert. So you know when they watched it. So you'll get an alert in your mobile phone and you call people back, be there on time. You'll notice, you know, the live feature as he was highlighting things. We call that Mortgage Coach Live, was updated. He didn't put a video on this one, could have. Anything you want to add to this? And I'd love to have you show just a really simple, like,
I'll show, I got a real simple one. The other thing that I'd love to add too is for us, and I'm, you know, from a unit standpoint, like the people on this call are doing substantially more than I am. So, you know, well done you all, but I do understand that like time is money, and we've got to get the information to the customer in a very useful way. And if we're having to go back and forth with the client multiple times, maybe on other phone calls, they ask us a question and we're not able to answer it like on the call, then we have to go back and send that information to them and potentially have another call. So, you know, when they ask like, well, hey, well, what if, you know, I'm going to be in the home for 10 years? Like, I don't know any other program that on the fly, I can just go into it and say, okay, so from an analysis standpoint, I'm going to change this to 120-year timeline rather than a 5-year timeline. And then right there, if you guys just refresh your screen, it just moved it to now. If they say, well, I'm going to be in the home for 10 years, well, the FHA is actually now it's $2,000 less expensive over a 10-year period of time than a 5-year period of time. I don't know any other system that how quickly I just did that. I can change the time horizon of ownership and then show them which program is the right program for them over time. You get me on that? Like how quickly I did that?
Yeah, that was super quick. Makes it easy if you can do things like that on the
It's-
fly because it's all real time for them.
It's all real time and it's adjusting on their screen. Oh, hey, Keith, we're going to look at a different purchase price. Okay, no worry. What price do you want me to put it at? And I can just go in here while I can adjust the closing costs while I'm talking with them and play with really whatever I want to play with. And then on the fly, it adjusts it while I'm on the phone with them. Now, again, we've done thousands of these TCAs, so I'm a lot faster. It takes a minute to get this, but I can have what used to be a 1 hour bar presentation in 20 minutes or less on the phone and go over more information than I was ever able to because of the ease of the system. So there you go. Let me jump into another one. I thought this one was really cool. This one's going to just be a refinance, but it's a jumbo refi preview.
And
So
one of
this
the
one's
most
cool.
common TCAs we're seeing in the marketplace right now is just showing people options, different interest rate options, ranging from high points, 1.5 to 2 points lowest rate to, higher rate, lower cost. So that when a family is looking at you, they see that you have options. We're seeing that in a lot today in today's market. What do you got here, Keith?
So right here, this customer has $1 million value on their house, a $717,000 loan, 4% interest rate. He's talking to us about refinances. He's looking at paying points. He sees low interest rates being advertised on third-party websites that have lots of points. We're trying to figure out and have the conversation with the client. Which rate is a rate that they should go with? So on this jumbo loan, I showed him a 3.5. I showed him a 3.375, a 3.25, and a 3.125. But on the conversation with a high net worth buyer, I'm able to show them very quickly and efficiently their total savings over time with each option and their interest costs over time. So I'm able to show them, hey man, on your current path in the next 15 years, you're going to pay $358,000 in interest. And this takes into account all costs associated with completing this refinance. So all the fees that I'm showing you that we're adding the loan amount, we're taking your loan amount from 717, because I asked, my loan amount's going way up. Does this make sense? Your current loan amount 717. I'm going to take you to 733. I know that seems like a lot, but on your current path, you're going to pay $358,000 in interest over the next 15 years. In any of these refinances, taking into all those costs, you're going to save significant interest over time. And then really just showing them, yeah, man, it definitely does. I think if you're going to be in this home for a 15-year period of time, it makes sense to pay $6,000 in points, because over a 15-year period of time, it's going to save you $285,000 in interest, you're going to pay $285,000 in interest, whereas in your current path, you're going to pay $358,000. So I'm giving you guys kind of a Reader's Digest version of the conversation, but I just don't know any other way that I can have this conversation with a client with a fee worksheet and show them, no, dude, it makes sense to pay $66,000 in points to buy yourself at 3.125. You're for sure going to be in the home in 15 years. And again, if he says, hey, it's going to be 8 or 10 or 30, how quickly I can just go in and change these parameters and show them different options. The other thing that's really cool too is I can actually change. I got property appreciation in here. It shows them loan balance over time, how much they're going to pay down. But this is a 15-year analysis. So I don't know if you saw how quickly that was. I just clicked the more info tab. This comes up. So sometimes we change this to net worth. So I can actually show them what rate will provide them the highest net worth over time. So it just depends on what that conversation with the customer is, or the direction that they're going on kind of what data I want to show them.
So let's do this, guys. I want you to notice in the upper right-hand corner, he can click record video and add a video to it. So there's video button.
You want me to do that? So right here, I can do add audio video. So if I wanted to add that, it would just come up, and then I can add it in web browser. It's going to take over right there. And then I'm literally just hit the record button. Hey, it's Keith Collins, Movement Mortgage. Just wanted to put together some quick numbers for you. What I'm really trying to show you is what it looks like to pay a little bit of extra fees over time and the savings that you're going to have. Take a minute, take a look at the interest rates. Make sure you click on the more info tab, and then book some time on my calendar to really go over these numbers. And then boom, that's basically what I'm saying. And it's done, and it's embedded into there.
And remember, our goal is to make the mortgage advisor the most valuable advisor to a family, and provide a little bit of fiscal literacy with every single conversation they have. And to do that in a way that's very effective, very fast, actually speeds up the loan process and saves time. And you can notice in the far upper right-hand corner, that's where he clicks to do preview and highlight. That button in the upper right-hand corner, that's where he does preview. So let's do this, Keith. Why don't you stop sharing your screen? You know, if we have time, I'd love to have you do some more TCAs. Before I bring Dawn on and we do a demo of the back end and we just show what it's like to create one of these, does anybody have a question or a comment so far? Kim said, thank you for organizing this, Keith. So I agree with Kim. Thank you, Keith. Anybody have a question or a comment? All right. So feel free to put questions in chat or, you know, when we'll have another break or two to ask for questions. So Dawn, if you don't mind giving a demo, showing everybody how they can personally create a TCA or how their team member, a lot of the folks on this call, I think everybody on this call has a team member. So let's talk about both, you know, using it themselves as team leaders and then how they can also use it with their team.
All right, that sounds fantastic. Oh, well, actually, it's not a bad idea that I landed on this screen. Can you see my screen?
We can, Dawn.
All right, so this is just one of the things that I was reading this morning, and this is some of the information that borrowers hear day in and day out, right? Whether it's from big box online lenders, if they're reading something in the economic climate, but the industry feeds borrowers with so much information. So right here, if a borrower sees first-time home buyers today need a year longer to save for 20% down payment, how do you respond to that, right? You know, and I know that there are other options, but I just wanted to stop there for just a moment to say that part of your job is really to dispel the myths. And one of the ways that we do that is, as Dave was saying and Keith was illustrating, is with Mortgage Coach. But let's talk about how you put some of this information together. I understand that you all use Optimal Blue, and a good part of illustrating how different loan options perform for a borrower over time begins with assimilating product and pricing options that are appropriate for a borrower based upon that hopes and dreams and goals conversation that you had with them. So this might look pretty familiar with you, to you, but this is the Optimal Blue interface. And right now I'm just going to grab a profile out of the Optimal Blue.
Hey, Dawn, they don't have Optimal Blue yet. Let's start with just how they can use it today. Like,
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah, they don't have that right now. So let's just show how they can use it today. Using templates.
Just for the LO, we have Optimal Blue. We just don't have the Optimal Blue integration into Mortgage Coach.
That's right. My bad. All right. So this is when you log into Mortgage Coach. This is the Mortgage Coach dashboard. This is your landing page, right? So you can see here, I have recent clients. This is all of the most recent total cost analysis that I have created. You'll see recent views. We talked to that just a moment ago about how powerful it is that when your borrower or realtor engages with the presentation, you can actually see have they viewed it. Because if any one of these number of views stays as a big goose egg, that means you've lost the borrower or they're disengaged, right? So it's like you're knocking the door, your SOS to take action. And then you'll see with an enterprise integration, when we do automate Optimal Blue for you, all of the TCAs that come from that integration or any integration land here in our automated tab. And then we have things like strategy templates that help you move faster. So for example, if Keith oftentimes finds that he has that conversation with a borrower who he's trying to help understand the difference between FHA down payment assistance versus a conventional loan, he can save that as one of his favorites, if you will, so that the next time he gets a borrower profile that's similar, that where he wants to show those options, he just simply makes it as a strategy template. And when he does that, he can open that template, simply copy it to a new client and enter the borrower specific information, and off he goes. All right. But let me go back to my dashboard real quick. A couple of other things that you'll notice about Mortgage Coach on your dashboard is that there is content that we put in here that helps support you over that period of time that maybe slow to you, or maybe that adoption period that you go through, that helps support you during that process. So we can inbuild training right into your Mortgage Coach user interface to support how to use Mortgage Coach. So for example, how do I do my first rent versus buy TCA? How do I do some kind of a strategy template? So we have that after the fact that we've onboarded you, we've trained you, and now we have ongoing support and training that's sitting right here where you work every day. You can see that there's the client tab. There's also a partner tab. So if you wanted to take advantage of what we call our strategic financing flyer, for example, it's very similar to an open house flyer, not meant to replace that, but I'm just going to show you an example of what that might look like. This is beautiful pictures that a mortgage lender working with the realtor might have, her beautiful pictures coming from the MLS, not all of them, not meant to replace those beautiful pictures. But for this particular property, you can show or illustrate how a borrower that's visiting an open house could walk out of that home and see different price points based upon different amounts down, the affordability that borrower has through this illustration that's delivered to that borrower walking out of the house digitally, can be shared to their phone as they're walking out, going on to their next house. So when I go back to Mortgage Coach, you'll also see some of the other things that we have. When we work with you in an enterprise relationship, we come in and we help you set up things like all of your product templates, all of your fee templates. We help you build out putting your logo in, the personalization that you see. And then just as importantly, we can set up your integrations that you have. And oh, by the way, we have some fun stuff with gamification that allows you, with your competitive spirit that is pretty predominant amongst loan originators, how do you advance through the adoption of Mortgage Coach from being a white belt user all the way up to a black belt and then a grandmaster. And what we find is there is a significant correlation between your advancement in our belt system and your change in your production lift. So let me log out of here and actually go into my main dashboard and begin creating a new client. So you can see here, if I wanted to take advantage of trainings, let's say, for example, I went through training, I forgot how to do my first 30 versus 15 year, we can actually access the training. And oh, by the way, you have the step-to-step guide of how to build out this presentation. You have the ability to, do I want to use a strategy template to start this presentation? I can say yes or no. And if I do, I simply select the strategy template. And then we advance very simply through this wizard-like system. You can see here the screens that we go through down here on the left-hand side. You'll also note that there's very little data that is required to get this presentation in the hands of your borrower. Anytime when you see this little red asterisk, that's all the data that's required. That's all that's needed to begin the presentation. You can see here, you can involve the realtor into this, as Dave shared, the wealth team, where you're captain of the wealth team. You can include the realtor who might be working with that borrower in sharing this presentation with them. And I simply advance through all of the screens. Again, you can see that there's very little data that's required. We have recently introduced a debt consolidation TCA. So here's where you would start that whole analysis of talking to the borrower about what consumer debts that they might have and what they want to pay off. You can enter the liabilities right here. I'm not going to walk through the debts consolidation right at the moment, but you can see here, it's just taking that consultative conversation that you have and starting to plug in the data that's relevant to the borrower and what they're trying to accomplish. So you can see here, the current mortgage payment. I'm just going through these because there's not a whole lot of data that's required. So now we get to a recap. Since this is my 30 versus 15 year, I start filling out the data of first mortgage date, the original loan amount. This is a refi finance situation that I selected here. I simply enter from whatever your rate sheet is telling you. You simply enter a rate. You can enter the terms, the remaining balance, and simply continue to go through the wizard that's leading you very simply through the wizard. You can enter then, if you wanted to look at some kind of, as Keith showed you, if you wanted to take into account a tax benefit, this is where he did that. You can find the tax benefit. And then you can simply continue through these initial setup. But then I get to the product area. And as I mentioned, when we set up Mortgage Coach for you, The reason we set up those product and fee templates is because now you can simply select a product that you want to add. And it brings in all of that information around that product. So you can see here that I've got the data starting around my first product. And you can see that I'm continuing to walk through the purchase price, down payment, the interest rates, but this is just the data that you do every day, right? I can continue through, we have, because we captured your fee templates, now I can actually select a fee template to associate with this product template. So you can see here, we come in and we build in all of your lender fees into the template itself, so that you just have to select from the template. Let's just select the template and it automatically is bringing in all the closing costs. I'm applying it to the loan. And now you have the beginnings of either creating detailed fee information for the borrower, or you can also do lump sum, either way. All right, so here's homeowner dues, mortgage insurance. We have integrations with MI companies to go out and get MI pricing. If you have an enterprise relationship, I can add another product. And again, the same thing that I just went through, I can copy from another product or add the product. But then I get down to the analysis portion where actually I can define what I want to show, right? So Keith talked about that showing a 5-year analysis. As he showed you, you can change that on the fly to whatever the borrower is conveying with you. If they're a vet and they're going to be in the home 3 years, there's no sense in showing 5-year, right? So you make it customized to the borrower conversation. And then I simply decide if I did several different products, but as I've talked to the borrower, I'm really getting a sense of one way or another that they're leaning. I can select that, oh, I'm just going to show product 1 or product 2. And it's just as easy to select, update, or change. You customize your welcome messages here. You can preview some of the presentation, and you get to the end. You start seeing what the presentation is going to look like, and I'm going to preview the final amount. You can protect it with an access code, and you can either then, you want to make sure that you put some kind of a quote date to be compliant, and then you generate the link. And that is the link that ties the borrower and the realtor, if you've included the realtor, with you and the wealth team. I'm going to pause there and ask what comments or questions you have.
Hey, so let's do this, Don. Let's stop sharing the screen. Let's answer a few questions, and then let me show a few other strategies from other loan officers around the country, and how they're using Mortgage Coach with rent versus own, with a move up analysis. So let's see what questions we have. I think Kim asked, where do you pull the fees from? So right now you don't have an enterprise relationship. So you would create a fee template in Mortgage Coach, and you would be putting those in and setting those up yourself. At some point, hopefully we have an enterprise relationship. I do want to make sure you guys realize you can, like, let's say you created a template, which you already have, took a minute to do it. You could go like, oh, I've got a down payment options TCA, and I'm grabbing one from my strategy templates. And now it's pulling multiple different loan programs, multiple different fee templates. And within literally less than 2 minutes, I created a new total cost analysis. So once you've created it once, you don't have to keep doing it using strategy templates. Let's see what else. Is it app friendly? It's very app friendly. Client clicks on the link. If they click on it from an Android phone, they get an Android experience. They click on it from an iPhone, they get an iPhone experience. They click on it from a desktop, they get a desktop. Can the borrower, another one from Kim, can the borrower manipulate the TCA to run numbers on their own? No, it's designed to be an advice tool that you update, you create it. If you do have an enterprise relationship, you do have the APIs where you can put those into a web page and it can be edited by a client, or leveraging like our integration with HomeBot. A family is in HomeBot, they manipulate things within HomeBot, it updates with Mortgage Coach. But right now, you guys would be looking at the standalone version of Mortgage Coach, which does have the integration of HomeBot, but doesn't have the other integrations. So while I'm waiting for more questions, a couple other strategies. So we've got 10 of the top 10 lenders in the country. They have Mortgage Coach rolled out at enterprise level. Hopefully you guys will join that. I know you're in the top 10, but hopefully you'll be a Mortgage Coach client at some point. But here's an example of how Guild is using Mortgage Coach. This is Amber Kovarik. She does a little over 40 loans monthly. And she's doing a move up analysis where she had a family that said, hey, can I refi? And she's like, yeah, you can refi and save $312 a month. But they wanted to move up. They wanted to see like, hey, what would it cost for an extra bedroom in a better school district? And she said, well, you qualify at 5% down and your payment would go up by $507. And they're like, okay, noted. Now they have equity. They had $125,000 in equity. So they could buy this new home non-contingent and then they could sell it. And they had 125 in equity and they could buy down their mortgage and recast their payment. So get the move up, the extra bedroom, and lower their monthly payment. Well, what this family did in Power of Mortgage Coach is she put in, hey, say they put that 125,000 in an interest-bearing account, and look what happens. Power of Mortgage Coach, this family decided to move up. So Amber was able to give one of her agents a move up opportunity. They increased their cash access by 125,000, and they increased their equity by almost 400,000, and they got their dream home. And a realtor got a listing lead. So that's just an example of different strategies you can do with Mortgage Coach. Here's another one, Denise Donahue, who's already closed over 600 loans this year. She's on track to do over 200 million this year. She does a lot of rent versus owns with Mortgage Coach. So she's got a first-time home buyer. She's got this branded experience. She says, hey, this is your current rent. It's $1,500 a month. Here's a couple different purchase prices that you can consider. And this is, again, Power of Mortgage Coach. It shows transactionally from a monthly payment standpoint what the difference is. But then Mortgage Coach goes beyond just monthly payment. What would it look like over 60 months? And then more importantly, what would this look like over 10 years based off of the borrower's assumption on interest rates? Look at the net worth difference. So it's just about making numbers simple and clear for consumers, and then making it easy for you to create these experiences so that loan officers understand their options, they understand their strategies, and they can do it within a matter of minutes. So guys, we're 41 minutes into this. We got another 20 minutes on the calendar. So I want to make sure we get your questions answered, and then also have Keith, share some more strategies. Any more questions? Any questions I'm missing, Don or Chris coming in?
I don't think so.
We catch that borrower, can borrower manipulate TCA to run numbers on their end? No, they can't. It's locked out from them. They can't change things on their end, unless you guys already answered that. Sorry.
Sort of did, but got it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kim, for the questions. So Keith, how long does it take you and your team to create a total cost analysis? And walk us through your team. Like, what's the team flow? What's the workflow from a team standpoint on how you create these, and who presents, who makes the video, stuff like that?
Yeah, totally. I mean, less than 5 minutes. I mean, I could, we could probably bring on a team member if we wanted to, but less than 5 minutes to create a TCA. I don't even know my PCL login. So I don't price loans. I don't run DU. I don't put the stuff together. I just have the borrower conversation. So my LP1, which is my front end LOA, she pulls down all the docs, reads kind of the notes in Candid and what we're trying to do based on our initial conversation, and then puts together the options for the customer. And she sends an email to the team breaking down what she did, how she came to the conclusion that she did, and kind of what she's presented to the client. Myself or my team LO jumps into the Mortgage Coach TCA just to make sure it's exactly what we want to show. We say we're good, and then the LOA team LOA actually sends it out to the customer. So she sends out the email to the customer, letting them know what they're qualified for. We record the video within the.
Who does the video? You do the video. They do.
Myself or my team LO, just depending on who's up. It's whoever's first up, right? Like if I'm looking at it, if I'm the one that looks at it and signs off on it, I'm the one that does video. If my team LO is the one that looks at it and signs off on it, she's the one that does the video. It's more so just a 30-second video for face, and to give them a little guidance, because it is a lot of information. But I've never had a client like say it's too much information. I just want to break it down. I do have a lot of clients saying like, this is awesome. You know, I really appreciate you diving into this detail. Team LO sends it out. So they send out, you know, here's what you're basically qualified for. Here's what we put together. Here's a link for the numbers. And then here's a link to book time on Keith's calendar through Calendly to go over these numbers in detail. But that's our basic process. The team LO, my LOA puts together these numbers completely. I don't put them together. I just make sure that they're what we want to present to the client.
Got it.
So the other thing that we use it a lot right now, and is counter offer negotiation. So that's one of the big things that we use. You know, especially in California with prices increasing, we're seeing some stuff not appraised. I'm sure you guys are seeing that in other markets, but you know, and we're having to write offers without appraisal contingencies. So we're going in and saying, okay, you're writing this offer at 600,000, but you know, it might appraise it at 590, it might appraise it at 580, it might appraise at 570, but it's not going to be any lower than 560. We know that, like there are comps to support the 560. So what I'll do is I'll actually present to the customer on a TCA, $600,000 value, you know, $600,000 contract, seller's not going to reduce $6,000 contract with a $600,000 value of 590, 580, 570, 560, and really how it doesn't impact their cash to close at all or payment. And then there have the comfort level to go in and write an offer without a appraisal contingency. And we're doing that like while they're writing the offer, if the buyers are concerned, and our agents love that.
Well, again, confidence and clarity, guys. I mean, it's never been more important that a consumer has confidence and clarity, especially if they're going to win in a bidding war. And the total cost analysis gives them more clarity, so they have more confidence to make the highest possible offer that could be a winning offer. Keith, what about, how do you integrate this with your real estate agents? How are you using it to help win new realtors and create value for agents?
So I do a lot on social media, just about presenting numbers and how I'm talking to clients. I do use this almost every time in an initial borrower conversation where I'm doing the Mortgage Coach Live, right? So, you know, I'll ask the question, like, how does your current lender present numbers to your customer? And is there ever any confusion? Is there any time where the clients seem to be a bit confused on the numbers? And they're like, oh, you know, I don't know what they do. Well, let me show you what I do. And I'll text them the link, much like I put the links in here in the chat. And then while I'm meeting with them, I take over their screen on their phone and guide them through kind of how I would guide their customers through how we present the numbers so that the clients are comfortable and confident when writing offers.
So that's a pretty common best practice in the Mortgage Coach community, where loan officers are, you know, putting Mortgage Coach in a total cost analysis in the context of it's a more efficient and effective way to educate your borrowers. The video that I'm showing you right now, and I put a link in chat, is where it was a presentation Denise Donahue gave at the Modern Mortgage Summit last month. And she talked about how she actually, when she's doing lunch and learns or she's presenting to groups of realtors, she'll actually teach mortgage strategies. And she'll show them how she's getting first-time home buyers off the fence. She'll always have a first-time home buyer analysis. She's showing that move-up analysis. She's showing a cost of waiting analysis. I don't know if you have a cost of waiting analysis, Keith. I can pull up one if you don't. But just in addition to just purchase options, which are by far the most common TCA that are created in the Mortgage Coach community, where it's just like interest rate options, down payment options. But that is the most common. Now, Denise, when she does these in-person things, she'll also print up the Mortgage Coach TCA. A lot of our users will have an iPad on display. If they're doing it on Zoom, they'll put a link in the Zoom link. So super common way that Denise is doing it. Again, this is just a 5-minute video. You can watch this. I put it in chat. But I mean, at the end of the day, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about, and I'm telling you, I have brought so many loan officers ranging from 100 plus loans a year, 500 plus loans a year. Shop Bedosian with G-Rate, whose team is going to do over $1 billion loans this year in volume. So different loan officers at different levels, if they do 10 to 20 of these total cost analysis, they're like, we got it. It's easy. It's fast. It is a better borrower conversation, less price exceptions, more conversion. And then of course, realtors love it too. So that's a pretty, encompassing demo of Mortgage Coach and what it is and what we're presenting. And when you really kind of like net out the value proposition, it really is pretty much this simple. You know, we're making this pitch go from status quo fee worksheet to dynamic mortgage experience, options, video, live. You know, that is the Mortgage Coach value proposition. Deliver, modernize the most important touch point. We believe it's when you're having that interest rate conversation, go from static rate payment, cash to close, to a mortgage strategy conversation. So if we don't have questions, Dawn, do you have anything else that you think we need to make sure we demo?
I've got some.
I don't think so. Keith, go for it.
Yeah, not necessarily a demo, but I just put a link in there in the chat just to take a peek at this last one. It's a post-close TCA. It's something that we really do and our clients seem to love. And another thing that we talk to our agents about, you know, we say a lot of these things in the beginning of conversations with customers.
Well, here, I'll pull it up on my screen, Todd, or I've got it on my screen.
You can pull it up. I think it's
here it is,
awesome.
guys.
You know,
Hopefully
so
you
this-
clicked on it.
Yeah, so this is something that it takes, I don't know, this probably takes 2 to 3 minutes. I actually have an admin do this after the close of escrow. So it's not even something that, you know, I don't mean to take anything away from that, but it's not like super high level. The loan officer doesn't need to be doing this, so it's quick. But we know we have conversations with customers and, you know, they go like, hey, we want to be, you know, client for life, or we're going to help you better manage debt, you know, increase additional net worth by better managing debt. You know, whatever it is, we're making these kind of like closing bullet points in the beginning of a conversation with a customer, but how are we actually following through with this? And so this is one of the things that we do on the team about 30 days after the close of escrow as a check-in, is everybody gets a post-closing TCA. And so whatever the client locked down, which is going to be the current. So if you just show them the current there, buddy. So there's the current. So the current column is what they did. That's what we locked them in at. And then I send them afterwards what it would look like if they applied an extra 100 in that next column, then 200 or $300 in additional principal reduction every single month. That small additional principal reduction, the impact that it has over time. And it shows them savings over 60 months, right? Which is not massive in terms of savings, but what I do like to show them is net worth. And this is how better managing debt will help. That's how we help you increase your net worth by better managing debt. Just an extra $100 a month is almost $20,000 in additional net worth over a 15-year period of time. We're at 40,000 with 200, and we lost the screen share there, but I think it's awesome. And so that's one of the things that we send out after the close of escrow. We copy the agent on it too. And we have a little thing that we send out just saying, hey, we wanted to just show you how you can actually pay this loan off sooner with a little bit more extra out of your pocket on a monthly basis. And would love to go through this and how it works.
Love that strategy, Keith, and great best practice. Adam asked you, Keith, how long did it take you to ramp up to be able to do it in 5 minutes or less?
Yeah, and I said they're probably about 30-ish TCAs, I think, for a custom for the team. I mean, we were, you know, you missed the
How
beginning
much
of it.
time did that take you? Like a couple weeks?
Oh, like a month. I mean, less than a month. Because I mean, we're doing probably 60 TCAs a month on the team. So I mean, it took us probably less than a month. But I mean, my upfront LOA, like I've asked her before, do you want to go back to the old way? And she's like, absolutely not. Don't ever not sign up for a Mortgage Coach. So my upfront LOA appreciates and utilizes this, and it's throughout the whole team. So it's pretty awesome.
So Kim said, how do we sign up? What's the scoop? So Kim,
Done.
Yeah, right. Thanks, Kim. So Chris will send out an email to everyone. You can, click a link. It's $120 a month. There's no annual commitment, turn it on, turn it off at $120 a month and no setup fee. So we'll get that link out to you. We would, love to have you guys on the Mortgage Coach team. We've got over 70 loan officers at Movement that use Mortgage Coach in our standalone. We call it the broker edition of Mortgage Coach. We are presenting to some of the managers next week, and at some point hope to have an enterprise relationship with you guys. One of the benefits of that would be, a cost reduction, depending on the nature of the relationship, could be a pretty significant cost reduction. And then also our Optimal Blue integration, just to let you know what this looks like. This is what Mortgage Coach looks like integrated into Optimal Blue. Again, not something you have available in the broker edition of Mortgage Coach. But if your C-suite decides, hey, this would be great, and we want to turn it on at the enterprise level, you can submit for active pricing. This is what you already do. Only you would now have a mortgage coach tab where you could pick the loans that you want to put into the TCA, click the mortgage coach button, and that would create the total cost analysis. So, it'd save even Keith's team probably 30 seconds to a minute. And it's a pretty sweet feature.
But it's live though, right? So if rates change, it changes the TCA, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, you have to edit that on your side. So Optimal Blue is available both within Mortgage Coach and from Optimal Blue. So you can update that, but you would need to say, hey, I want to update and change the pricing. It's not going to just change pricing without.
Right, well, you're not gonna have to go in like recreate, you just refresh, correct?
No, correct.
Yeah,
Yeah, from within Mortgage Coach, you
if
can.
rates change, yeah, exactly, you just recreate it. The other thing, hey, Adam, you weren't in there, in the mastermind, but one of the things that I had shared is, it helps me out with a lot of pricing. And I'm not like a paid employee mortgage coach, so I'm not getting anything from this, Adam, but I'm at 4 bips in subsidy year to date. So for me, it really helps us just combat rate and have rate conversation with customer a lot, and we get shopped a lot less, and we go into it more in detail with the customers that just it doesn't come up. We're able to combat it, and that's not me like turning away from loans and stuff, so it's cool. And then my crew's like typically less than 20 bips in subsidy that are on Mortgage Coach.
So guys, we got about 5 more minutes, so I don't have a hard stop. If you have questions, we will answer your questions. We hope that this was a valuable 55 minutes of your time. If you're watching the recording of this, let Chris know, chris@mortgagecoach.com. My email is dave@mortgagecoach.com. Also want to remind you guys, we do have a YouTube channel. I interview top producing loan officers every week, like multiple loan officers every week, and we're sharing best practices. And in our YouTube channel, I've got a whole playlist I've got one, how does Keith Collins use Mortgage Coach? And it goes through about a 35-minute interview of how Keith and his team use Mortgage Coach. But then I have a lot of other top producing loan officers that, for the most part, if someone's not doing over 100 loans a year, I don't interview them. I consider anyone who's doing over 100 loans a year killing it. I've got folks that are doing over 1,000 loans a year on that call. Like I said, Sean Benoshian and his team are doing over 2,000. So a lot of different people at a lot of different levels, how them and their team are using Mortgage Coach is all in the YouTube channel. Hope you guys all join the team. Any questions before we wrap up? And Don or Chris, anything that you think we haven't covered or questions we haven't answered?
I think it's covered.
Yeah, I think it's all covered. And like I said, like Dave said, I'll send out an email how to sign up, and maybe with the calendar of events, so you can join Dave's interviews.
Okay, well, hey, Keith, thank you so much for setting this up.
Yeah, thank you.
Adam asked for the recording. Yeah, Adam, we will get you the recording.
Yep.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks for your time. And like I said, hope to have you on the team. Take care, y'all.